am your host, Ryan Anderson. Welcome to another edition of Get Bucked. Today we are going over the late, or just, I guess not the late, but the Pick-6 carryover at BAQ tomorrow, Thursday. I now get to be joined by my co-host, Jackson Muniz. He's got the new face today. He's shaved it all off. You want to tell the people why?
Yeah, we had that big softball championship last night, and we got beat yet again. It was a close game. We were ahead the whole time and lost in the last inning. It was brutal. So, like the Red Sox and these hockey teams do. I'm sure other teams do it too. But as soon as that playoff run ends, they shave it all off. So we're gonna get a fresh start. And speaking of fresh starts, you're in a new place too. I don't think I've ever seen you where you're at today.
Yeah, I have two locations. I have there's like a back room in this house that I go in if anybody else is home, but nobody's home right now. So I'm in the main dining room area. I've maybe done like one other show from this. It's pretty rare that you catch me in here because I'm not often home chilling by myself, but today I am. So that's nice. Today we get to go over the late Pick-6 or the Pick-6 again, carryover over at Belmont at the Big A, otherwise known as BAQ. Excited to go over that. We got a good card. Even you liked it. You said you're going to give it a swing, and normally that's not really your deal.
No, I can probably count in one hand the number of Pick-6s I play every year. But I think this is one that looks pretty approachable, and depending on what happens with scratches, I might actually play this one. It looks pretty interesting.
Definitely, it looks interesting. Should be a fun sequence here. We're gonna do it a little bit differently. Normally, you and I throw our top 3 picks down in the bottom, but today we're just gonna go through the picks that we have in our Pick-6. We're doing a $75 budget. We'll throw the tickets up here first, and then we'll just kind of go into the races one by one. But first, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Breeders' Cup Power Picks available at www.hhhracingpodcast.com. Link is in the description. Please go purchase those. It's 30 plus pages of really in-depth horse racing material as it pertains to the Breeders' Cup, both days of racing, of course. You get everybody's top picks from all the races. You get about a page of analysis per race, if not more so. We have over 30 pages of content that we'll be releasing. The ROI on this stuff is incredible. The HHH Racing Show has their show coming out with Aiden O'Brien this week. They have a show with Davey Lane coming up. That is going to give you so much insight into those Euro runners, and that is so valuable on the information side of things because that's obviously we're out on the West Coast, so we're about as far as Europe as you can get here in the United States. So it's going to help to know who's coming over, how they're shipping, how they're going to like the ground, everything like that. So be sure to tune in over there. Be sure to purchase the Breeders' Cup Power Picks. I'll be writing up a segment as well, so I can't wait for all that to get released. And yeah, I think that's all the kind of administrative stuff I got going on. So I'm kind of ready to get into this Pick-6. As you see, I threw the picks up down below. Again, $75 budget. We have over a $100,000 carryover. Belmont at the Big A, the carryovers play a little lighter this time of year. So I'm thinking we probably get to 340, 380 in the pool, maybe. What do you think?
What's the carryover? I don't even know how much it is.
There's so many. It's like 108,000, I think. Yeah, it's hard to keep track nowadays. With
it's 124. That's a lot.
There we go. 120
more than I thought it was. So that
is.
I think.
And Santa Anita, of course, $153,000 carryover in their Pick-6, and there's a strong chance that double carries into Saturday. And if that triple carries into Saturday, if that carries again from Friday, Friday's sequence looks possible. Saturday's looks next to impossible. So it's going to be fun to see because if it carries over again on Saturday somehow, we're going into mandatory payout closing day on Sunday at Santa Anita. So that's something to keep an eye on. Where you can find the content for, Saturday at Santa Anita. That's on Pacific Horse Players. It's going to be tonight, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, that's right. I'm just going to be in front of a computer all the time. I'm sorry to any of you that are sick of me, but I'll throw the Pick-6 tickets back up on the board here as we're going to get into race number 3 to start. Let me get the form up for us here, but this sequence was interesting. It was not as difficult as some others have been, as you can see here. I'll throw it up full screen so we can kind of get a better view. As you can see, my formulator is working again, so thank God for that. We're going to start with the number 3, and Jackson, you'll kick us off here. We're going a mile. State bred allowance, non-winners of one other than. We both are using the 3. However, you are single to the 3. That is Sweet Anniversary.
Yeah, I thought this race was only going to come down to 3 horses. I'd be very, very surprised if anyone else wins. And those 3 are the 1A, the 3, and the 7. And the 1A just has lost 7 times at this level. She gets bet a lot, and she runs second a lot. I didn't need her anywhere. And then the 7 horse, I think, is a Belmont horse. It makes plenty of sense. Actually beat Sweet Anniversary, but he's ice cold right now. I think he's 2 for something. It's in the 50s or 60s at this point. And same thing, Kentucky. He's just not winning. He and Maker are. I've never seen him this cold. I don't think, because Maker had a couple horses today at Keeneland that I think we all liked, and they got bet heavy and they were bad. So I'm until they start proving otherwise, I'm fading their horses. So I don't need the 7 either. I'm all in on this 3 horse.
Yeah. Great points there. Yeah. Belmont is, I can go check here as he is in this race on the number 7. Yeah. 2 for 50 with 12 seconds, 4/3 coming in. So obviously that's not really what you want to see there. I'm using the 3 as well for all the reasons that you pointed out. I think the form coming in is good. Obviously 4 wins from 5 starts is, that horse knows how to find the winner's circle, even if it's at a lower circuit. That's valuable in a race like this, where a lot of these only have 1 or 2 wins to their name. However, I'm also going to be using the 1A if the 1A stays in the field, which I would imagine she does. Going for Rudy Rodriguez, who's only 7% at the meet. Again, he's on a little bit of that like kind of hot cold streak that you see. This horse hasn't won for quite some time, going all the way back to December of 2023 at this level, but versus open company. So I'm hoping this horse just kind of gets out to the lead. I don't know if Romero Mirage is going to be riding. Obviously, he had that kind of incident last week, so hope all is well with him. I don't know yet if he's going to be on tomorrow, or if we're going to have another replacement rider. But either way, this horse should go out to the front, kind of drawn midfield. I believe going to be breaking from about the 4 hole, if I did my counting correctly, which who knows nowadays. But that was a horse I wanted to use because I think being forward in a race where a lot of horses don't know how to pass other horses is kind of important.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And just back to 3 real quick. I know she came to the circuit one time and was really bad. She had a little bit of trouble at the break. It really didn't cost her anything. She just didn't run that day. But she went right back to Finger Lakes and ran really well. I like that you mentioned that she is capable of passing horses. She's done it a couple of times in her victories, but she also can be on the lead. So I like that versatility from a shorter price that we're going to be locking into here.
Definitely. And I do want to look at that Saratoga run because I do think, it's something to take a look at. We're going to look at, sorry, I meant to go head on here. 1 second. Because you see the stumbled break, and that was kind of significant. I think just kind of wide the entire trip. So breaking from the 7, obviously stumbled and then broke out a few paths. So that's definitely not what you want. This was a lesser horse facing better in this race. So that's one of those that you kind of have, you can kind of overlook it. This horse took money, as my window won't close here. This horse took money at Saratoga, which is definitely a good sign, something you want to see. So coming right back here, Belmont at the Big A, obviously not, super light on class, but is in good form coming in, has won 2 since that race at Saratoga, that being the only loss. And that's really the only time this horse has broken poorly. So coming right back, any of those previous buyers should fit here. Only other honorable mention I have is to the 2 horse, breaking from the rail, Jorge Abreu trains, Elliott on board. Decent horse, has been behind some hot paces. So hoping maybe if this race is one of those that just kind of falls apart that last furlong, this is kind of the one to pick up the pieces. I have 3 singles in this sequence, actually. So I found that this was the leg I was going to spread in. I went 1, 2, 3. Jackson just singled to the 3 as we go on to race number 4 here. Race number 4 is a let me throw this back up there. There we go. Race number 4. We are going 6 furlongs on the turf. I believe we're all on the outer turf, if I am correct. Or they've adjusted the rails. I got to double check that. But outer turf, 6 furlongs, claim $40,000, non-winners of 2 lifetime. I'm spreading again in here. I'm going 1, 5, 8, and 9. Jackson, you are going 3, 8. We're going to start with you. We're going to start with the number 3 horse here. That's Tariga for Kevin Bond.
Yeah, I just took the 2 best speeds in this race. I don't think there's very much of it. I think the 3 and the 8 are going to be forward on a pretty moderate pace and hoping that they don't get in each other's way. And I think this one's probably going to be quicker. They faced each other last time, the 3 and the 8. Where's my other choice? The 3 got the lead, got pressed by Reflexivity, who's just razor sharp right now. She just continues to win these turf sprints. So no shame in getting dueled into the ground there. Kind of took back after that, and wasn't a great trip. So I think she's going to clear this field. Could take him a long way. Her best races definitely put her in the mix. And again, I think this pace is going to be pretty soft in this spot. So I'm going to use her at 6-1 for sure.
Absolutely. One of my top picks is the number 9. This is the horse I picked on top. Came out of that same race we were just talking about, along with the number 5 horse. So a few coming out of that Reflexivity race who came out to win an optional claimer next out, and then came back recently to finish second in an allowance conditional race. So that horse, again, as you said, Jackson, in razor sharp form. This runner is third time turf, third time off the bench. So should be this horse's kind of best layoff. Or best effort, rather, coming off of that layoff from April. And then now we're into the late fall. Miss Bourbon, obviously, you have the razor sharp Dylan Davis riding for Tom Morley. They hit it 21% with a 246 ROI. And then right to the inside, we have another Tom Morley runner that I'll let you talk about as you pick this horse as well in your pick 6.
Yeah, again, just coming out of that same race. That was her first time sprinting, and it seemed to suit her pretty well because she was a massive price that day. She didn't break great, but she slowly made her way up, went to go press Reflexivity in the far turn. And, there's no shame in letting that horse beat you. That horse, as we keep saying, is really good right now. And she tried to take it to her, didn't work out, but she still ran a solid 4th, got beat by a couple deep closers for the 2nd and 3rd spot. But if, they go a little softer here, she breaks a little better. I'm not going to be surprised at all if she's right there at the end. Only downside is she was 35-1 last time, and she's going to be much, much, much shorter than that today.
Yeah, no doubt. You're not going to get that fun price as we did last time, but speed might be the key in a race like this, where there's just not much in terms of talent. Again, Reflexivity in that race was head and shoulders above the rest. So this is kind of, the scraps of that race, if you will. So that's kind of why I chose a new face in this race, kind of coming down the class ladder a little bit, depending on how you look at those state bred allowance, dropping down into, the open conditional claimers or non-2 winners of ever. So this I'm tossing the last for Dusk here, breaking from the rail. That last race at Baqueduct, I didn't love it. Yes, was behind a hot pace, but as you can see, veered out the break and was bumped. It wasn't super severe, but I think it was enough to just kind of get this horse off his game, or off her game, excuse me. So wasn't really gonna hold too much weight into that one. That just looked like the jockey just kind of wrapped up. The horse clearly just wasn't kind of feeling it that day. You see the odds were up there, 26-1 that day, so clearly over her head as it was. But I'm going 3 and 4 back. I liked those efforts enough. I think that they will fit with this group. I think that effort 3 back, especially at Baqueduct, against latest edition and Fancy Pants Juliana, along with, You Should Be Dancing and some others, had a bit of a tough go of it, but managed to kind of just have a respectable effort. Again, there's no world beaters in here. So this is a race where I needed to spread just because these, non-2, non-3 lifetime constantly knock me out anytime I try and narrow down. So I want to make sure I spread because I have some strong opinions the rest of the way. I guess I'm also using the 5, but we've touched on this race a bunch. Just another one coming out of there. Not too much else to say. This horse has a shot. Kendrick Carmouche has been riding out of his mind recently. He won, I think it was like 4 or 5 straight the other day, ending a card and then starting the next day's card. So gotta love the hot hand, and maybe he's just, he's riding with that sort of confidence that's going to get him in the right position, and maybe this horse has enough on that day. But I'm going 1, 5, 8, and 9, and then Jackson, you are going 3, 8 in the second leg of a pick 6 with a $120,000 plus carryover as we get into race number 5. Third leg, this is where one of my singles is going to come into play. I'm going to single the 2. Jackson, you are going 2, 4, 5. The conditions of this race, we're going a mile and a 16th on the inner turf. We're going maiden claiming $75,000. Your favorite is going to be the number 5 stamp of approval. Chad Brown, Castellano on board for Clarovich Stables. Obviously, anytime you see those 2 connections with Clarovich and Chad Brown, that's a horse to be feared for the most part, but You are using him. I'm fading him in this spot, but I like this 4 a little bit as well. Why don't you go ahead and touch on this one first?
Yeah, this 4's interesting at a price. I mean, she hasn't. You have to toss that dirt race. She's not a dirt horse. Didn't run, so toss that one. And her form looks pretty solid against these. I mean, she had trouble both those races at Gulfstream. I mean, 3 back, she had a ton of trouble in the stretch. She was coming late, and she was going to be a lot closer than that final margin would indicate. And last time, it was a really soft pace. She made a wide move into that soft pace and just got beat by a better horse that day. But notice she was 3 lengths clear of the rest. I like that a lot. Little slight cutback today. I'm surprised she's 10-1 in here. I thought she looked a lot more logical than that. I'll take it. I like Cherie's horses. Usually they take money, so maybe this one won't. On figure she fits in here. The only real concern I had was that Cherie's not great in these maiden claiming spots. I'm only 5%, really small ROI, but this one's gonna be a prize, so it doesn't bother me too much. She should get a good trip if this pace heats up, which it could, and she should be coming late.
Definitely. Yeah, I like that effort. I liked on the longest distance this horse has gone. She ran the best that she's run. 3rd off the bench here. Obviously, yeah, toss the 2 back Indiana Dirt try. She's just not a dirt horse. Ran 3rd in the field of 5. Comes in with a decent work. Fastest of 16. Only going 50 seconds, so nothing crazy, but can certainly step up and improve against these. You mentioned the 5% trainer at the maiden claiming level. Nothing that inspires too much confidence, but I do like the jockey here with Jose Lascano, as he is one of the best turf riders up in New York, extremely underrated. This horse kind of feels like, has raced twice in maiden optional claiming level. I don't believe has been up for the tag in either of those, being a Florida bred at Gulfstream. That's typically the condition there. Comes in here for $75,000. Feels like something where this is a horse that's not going to get claimed out of this race. It's not protected, obviously, as she runs for the tag, but is in a situation where I don't know anybody is going to want to risk that much money for a horse that clearly hasn't lived up to that $220,000 sales bidding. So that's definitely a horse that's interesting. 10-1 on this would be a really juicy price, because Cherie DeVoe has been on fire down at Keeneland and can certainly take those talents back up to New York with this Florida bred here. I'm going to touch on the 2, and then Jackson will turn to you to talk about the favorite. That's number 5. But Sunday Tiff is a horse that I'm picking straight on top here. Blinkers on for Tom Morley. You see Dylan Davis in the saddle with West Point Thoroughbreds. Tom Morley gets some good gets some good horses from West Point up in New York. It's a kind of combination I think is a little sneaky, and I like it. We went over that they are 21% Dylan Davis and Tom Morley together at the New York circuit, or at Aqueduct specifically, with over a $2 ROI. We're looking at about 240 right there. So that's obviously something I like. I like the first time Blinkers move. I like the biggest drop in racing, going from maiden special weight, not to mention maiden special weight at Saratoga, losing to a good Cherie DeVoe runner who repeated next time out in Deep Satin, and then coming back in for $75,000. Has some decent breeding top and bottom, nothing that screams turf too much, but I do like the addition of Blinkers on this horse. Tom Morley has strong numbers, 18%, 236 ROI, going maiden special weight to maiden claiming. This horse has a sibling was decent on turf, as you see down here. 1 win, but 4 in the money. So that's that's certainly something I like to see, as we're just looking at sire stats at this point, because I don't know how to click or work my computer today. But that was enough. 10-1 on this horse as well. The race 2 back at Aqueduct, I liked it. I think the addition of Blinkers is going to keep this horse focused. I think last time at Saratoga, we know how tough those fields come up over the summer up there at the Spa. So looking to toss that effort rather, and go to that effort 2 and 3 back in the debut and the second time out, because I think those really do compete here. I think the addition of Blinkers, we're going to sharpen this horse up. And that was enough to make me pick this horse on top, mainly because I wanted to fade this horse that you're going to talk about right now. That's stamp of approval for Chad Brown and Clarovich.
Yeah, a lot of mixed signals on this one, because I think Chad is really good at identifying when he has a dirt horse and when he has a turf horse. So this horse made her first couple starts on the dirt, which was a little concerning. That then she didn't win any of them. Then they switched her to turf and voila, she had her best performance of her career by a mile, and she ran really well that day. The pace was really hot. It was coming apart late. It was against much better field than this one, and she dug in to get third. And it was really strong effort, one you can build upon. But then she wasn't seen for 4 months. Now she's showing up for a tag. It's not that concerning at this point. She's a late season 3-year-old. She's still a maiden. Maybe someone puts in the claim for 75,000, but it's just probably a logical spot in here where they're trying to just get a win and perhaps a claim. But she makes sense in here. That figure towers over anything else this field has done. So if she can run back to that race, she'll be really tough. There's not a ton of speed in here. I think the one horse probably has some speed, but she's gonna be 9 to 5. She's a must use on all your tickets, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely a fair analogy. This horse, I'm fading this horse on my ticket. So this horse, I'm going to let beat me. If this horse beats me, maybe that's dumb. Maybe it's not, but something that, you mentioned started this horse on dirt, gave this horse 2 starts and then moved this filly to turf where she ran the best race of her career, but then has this layoff to contend with, was an expensive purchase price of $250,000. At the OBS April sale in 2023. And then it looks like they're just kind of giving up on this horse. That's not a terrible effort last time out in the maiden special weight ranks at Aqueduct. And then just kind of comes back for the tag. Clearly wasn't ready to run over the summer. I don't know. There were too many red flags for me to get past here at a race like this at what's going to be a really short price. And another thing that stood out to me, I'm not one that plays a lot of, jockey musical chairs or anything like that. But the fact that Manny Franco didn't end up on this horse is kind of telling for me. Got the mounts in the first 2 races, given those were on dirt. Obviously, Pratt is going to take it on the turf the next start if he was available. But then Castellano opts to ride here, and Manny does have mounts on this card. So that just tells me that he kind of didn't want to take it. I can't imagine he wasn't offered them out, but I don't know specifics, obviously. But that was just a little thing, and that was just kind of another addition of a little bit of a red flag that was just enough to persuade me off of this horse.
Yeah, Manny actually shows up on the 3 horse, who I feel like we should talk about because that horse is 5-2 on the morning line, and neither of us have it. And at least for me, there's just a horse that has had a lot of chances, and maybe they were against better, but I don't know if those Monmouth maiden special weights are really that much stronger than these New York high-level maiden claimers. And she burns so much money in those starts. She's always right there, but she just never gets the job done. Now you have to trust Linda Rice to move up at a former Chad Brown trainee. That's just not usually a winning angle, in my opinion. So one, I try to fade. I thought the 2 and 4 were much more interesting as a come from behinders at a bigger price.
Definitely. Coming out of the Chad Brown barn, I don't like those runners running next out, even for someone like Linda Rice, who is North America's leading female trainer. So obviously congrats to her. Obviously knows how to train a horse, dirt, turf, whatever. But coming out of Chad Brown, that's not something you like to see because he knows kind of when to give up on those horses, so to speak, or when he knows they're not up to that ability. This horse is bred beautifully. See the moon out of a Rock of Gibraltar mare. And just never really lived up to any of that potential there. So gets the first start for Linda Rice, coming off a bit of a freshening since Saratoga, early in the Saratoga meet, and is going to get a chance here. This is a horse I want to key underneath in like a tri-key box type situation. I'll go, 2-4-5 with 3, or 3 with 2-4-5 as the key box there, because this 3 is going to be somewhere in the finish. Just burns money as the favorite. Last 5 races has been the favorite.
She's been
not going to be
5 or lower in 5 straight starts. That's
absurd. She's not going to be 8-5 here because I'm pretty sure the 5 stamp of approval is going to be around 6-5 in this spot, maybe even lower. I think, without the presence of Manny, maybe that keeps this horse around even money, but either way, that horse is going to be way too low for me. But I'm willing to reverse try key box this horse just because this horse is going to be thereabouts at the finish. Just not going to be on top for me, but definitely a horse that's important to talk about because maybe today's the day for her. But again, not for me. Again, this race, third leg of the Pick-6. I picked the race with just the 2. I'm a single there. And then Jackson, you are 2-4-5 as we move on to race number 6. I'm spreading again in this race. I am going 1, 2, 4, 7, and 8. Jackson, you are going 1, 6, 7. We'll start with the horse that is not on the rail, but is a coupled entry. That's the 1 and the 1A. So Brave Bear, Western Wolf. Conditions of this: 2-year-old restricted maiden optional claimers. The restriction is $50,000 or less than their most recent sale, or optional claiming price of $50,000. Jackson, which horse did you like here between the 1 or the 1A?
It's the 1A. The 1A is the one I was interested in. I hate that he's an entry. It's going to just throw off the price by a lot. This horse ran okay on debut. He showed a lot of speed. I don't know how great that field was. A lot of them are coming out of that race, and he didn't take much money that day, but he did break really well from the rail. He established a pace and just got a little tired late. He hung into pretty deep in the stretch before finally throwing the towel. The last furlong, maybe the last half furlong. So that's a race he can build off of. I didn't see a ton of speed of the horses that have ran in this race, so maybe if he can again improve from that effort, get 4 on the spot, he could be tough to gun down in the late stages. But again, biggest concern was just he's going to be overbet just because of the entry. But I do think you need to use him.
Absolutely, yeah. Reason why that horse is on my ticket as well. Obviously, coupled entry. I'm also with the 1A over the 1. Having that first start, showing speed in that first start, 63 buyers, certainly respectable at this level. But speed first start, it was a sealed track, so maybe that throws things off a little bit. However, no matter what, I love speed on the debut. Normally horses build off that a lot better than they do if they're running from behind, or they're just kind of running into fitness or anything like that. If they show that ability and show that speed first time out, that's something I like to bet back. So that's a horse that I think is, going to be over bet, but in terms of the horizontal tickets, and that's what we're playing today, Western Wolf has got to be a use. If the 1A for whatever reason scratches, I'm not going to be using the 1. I don't love anything to do with the straight 1. That's Brave Bear. Not really bred for dirt much. I think this horse would be better suited on turf. However, this work here, oh my goodness, this work 2 back, going 47-2.
Wait, does that take you to the video?
It might. Let's see. We're just gonna do some exploring here on DRF. Everybody, just don't mind us.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't look like it. So it just takes us to the workouts.
Man, if they added that, I would buy every single form.
Yeah, that would be incredible if they managed to partner with XBTV or whoever they have to partner with. So, anyway, Brave Bear, nothing I'm gonna write home about. So if the 1A scratches, I will be tossing that from my tickets. But I want to talk about the 2 real quick. As you were 1, 6, 7, so I'll talk about the 2 and the 4 real quick. I like the 2. I think just is gonna have enough foundation. I like the Honor APs a little bit. Obviously curling on the bottom side, so this horse should love and relish the dirt. Has improved in every start. Obviously the 19 buyer first time out is a bit yikes, but that race last time out came out of the same race as the 1A Western Wolf. Had to gather my thoughts real quick. Came out of that same race, managed to make up a little bit of ground, and actually finished in front of Western Wolf. Greg Sackos had a really good meet with 3 in the money, 2 winners out of 8 starters. So small sample size, but he appears to be firing on all cylinders. This horse is owned and trained by Greg Sacco, or at least partly owned. And he's not in for the tag here. That's a vote of confidence. Still getting protected. Obviously, Sacco must like this horse, think he has some ability. So this is one of the 2 Greg Sackos that I'm going to be using in here. The second of which is the number 4 horse. That's Arcadian. McLean's Music on top out of an AP Indy mare. Love the breeding enough. McLean's Music is normally pretty good first time out. The dam has been surprisingly productive, producing 70% dirt sprinters. Sacco's having a really strong meet, has a good work leading into this, going 49-4, third best of 27 that day. Jockey and trainer are 33% overall with a 387 ROI. We'll take a look at the dam real quick and what she's produced. She raced a bunch. She did not win her debut, trained by Shug McGahee, but has produced some solid runners, a few 6-figure earners actually, which is certainly respectable. Nothing, that jumps off the page, but you like to see that this dam can produce runners. Has great stats all over the place. Again, mainly on the dirt side, but that's what we're running on today. So that's what I like. First time starter at 10-1. I'm hoping you get close to that price. Sacco's only 5% with his first time starters, but again, I'm just hoping that there is not much in this field and maybe this horse can, spring a bit of an upset in a pretty difficult but nice sequence.
Yeah, I had this horse on my ticket originally. If I play a big ticket, I probably will throw back on there because I think he could be interesting at a price, as you said.
Absolutely. Going on to another price that you have here, 15 to 1 on the morning line. That is Da Sama. That is the number 6 horse. Why don't you go ahead and talk about this one?
Yeah, I just thought that first time starter could be interesting. I really like that Kendrick shows up here. I feel like he probably had more options, and he shows up for connections he doesn't typically ride for. The work tab isn't anything crazy. At least it's consistent, which I'm always a fan of. I was able to watch one video. It was from a few months ago at Saratoga, and he looked okay. Like he had a decent stride to him. So don't really know what to make of him for sure. But I think the main play was that Kendrick shows up here in a race that left a lot to be desired. So I'm going to use him on a Sprague ticket for sure at 15 to 1.
Absolutely, yeah.
My top pick is far and away the 7 horse. I think this horse is a pretty good chance. On a Skinner ticket, this would probably be a single for me. I thought he ran really, really well last time after, he took some money, got bet a little bit, and he had a rough start. He actually broke with the field, I thought, and then he just steadied back to last, then rushed up into contention and just kind of ran around the track. He was still trying at the end, which I'm always a fan of. Just an effort I think he can move forward from. I'm expecting him to show a lot more speed than he did last time, as long as he breaks a little better breaks with the field. And these connections, this is what they do, right? Look at the second time starter stats for Brittany Russell. She's really good with this move. Franco bothers to show back up here. This is a strong play for me at the 7 horse.
Absolutely. And you got to love the Nice Guy stables as well. This horse had some trouble in the debut. We'll look. This horse is the number 8. We'll get to the head on, coming out of obviously what is a very common race with 4 runners coming out, including 3 that we've talked about now, including Chris's Revenge. Nice Guy stables have owned some nice New York breds and just over the years with Kentucky Dave. Sorry, let me get back here. Just didn't have the cleanest of breaks. Was the number 8 horse there? Just kind of got pinched. So coming back, second time starter for Brittany Russell. That was on that same good sealed surface. Maybe just didn't love it. The Instagrams have been running pretty nicely. I do like the ownership group in Nice Guy Stables as well. So I'm with you. This is one of my top picks, and I'll probably end up playing a B ticket that will be pretty skitty at this leg, primarily using the 7. Maybe the 2 as well, just because I think the 2's last race. Last horse we'll talk about in here before we get to a really intriguing first level allowance race that I'm excited to talk about because we have the return of a really good 3-year-old. We have Skyloft, trained by Mike Deeney, made a debut Monmouth at the Meadowlands, going 5 furlongs in a maiden claiming $25,000 race. Not a whole lot jumped off the page, except for just really good with second time starters. And maybe just thought this horse was going to like the turf. Clearly didn't, or clearly did.
I think we're fine. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, sorry, I misspoke. Meant to clearly did. And then a little bit of a weird move to then end up back on dirt in this spot. But turf to dirt, this trainer has good numbers. Again, I mentioned that it's 17% second time starter, the maiden level with a 264 ROI. Low level connections as they are 0 for 4 at this circuit. But a horse that I think is interesting, broke from the rail in that debut, which is tough in a turf sprint, and definitely ran pretty well in defeat. So a horse I'm willing to use here, draws nicely outside. If this horse has any kind of ability, I do like that this horse has stepped up in class, is not running for the tag. So Deeney obviously saw something that he liked in this colt, and now chooses to protect him second time out. So a horse I'm okay using with on dirt second time.
Yeah. If I was really spreading here, I would use the 8 as well.
Absolutely. Real quick before we go on to race number 7, which is a very intriguing 6.5 furlong open allowance race, non-winners of 1 other than. That's the return of El Grande O. I have a single in that race. Jackson, you're 4 deep. I'm not singling El Grande O though.
It's definitely the 5.
I mean, that's also a fair guess. I'll put the picks up on the screen right now, and you'll see I am singling the 7 as we're in here. Again, 6.5 furlongs allowance, non-winners of 1 other than. Jackson, you are going 4 deep with the 3, 4, 5, and 7. So we'll talk about our favorite first. That's El Grande O coming out of the Grade 3 Gotham Stakes. I had him in a massive play that day, so I don't want to talk about him. I'm not using him. I'll let you talk about this horse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect off the layoff, but his form from the spring and last winter was really good. I mean, the Gotham, he ran really well against Deterministic and Just a Touch, who were two pretty solid horses. In the Withers, he ran really well. That was a fast pace. He just got beat late at a distance that's definitely too far for him. To be fair, that was a day where there was a huge rail bias, but he did ride all the way to the finish, so that might have helped out a little bit. But he's just a horse that, if he's improved at all as a late season 3-year-old, he's going to be ultra tough in here. I just thought the pace was going to be pretty hot, and he's going to be one that hasn't really proven he loves passing horses yet. So if he doesn't establish a clear lead, which I think is going to be very difficult for him to do in this spot, I wanted to look elsewhere, which is why I'm spreading in here. But I do think you need to use them.
Another favorite I'm going to fade in this sequence. I'm going to try and get alive to something ridiculous and play. I mean, my ticket's about $60, so it's not necessarily the lightest ticket, but it is aggressive with 3 singles, so I'll take that in a situation like this. El Grande O, along with a lot of the other horses we're going to talk about, have not proved any real ability or any real desire to pass other horses. So it's either they kind of get to the lead and they're able to kind of get brave out there and finish, or they just kind of fade out, or they just kind of run in place. El Grande O, obviously, this is the horse with a lot of upside. The 89 buyer is great. I don't like to see that this horse had to get laid off for so long coming out of that, but either way, ends up back here, which is a reasonable spot. 3-time winner. Again, this horse, if this horse has grown up and matured, this horse is going to be tough. First time Lasix. Something I noted that I thought was a bit strange was that Kendrick Caramouche is not aboard to ride. Yes, you get the red hot Dylan Davis, who is hitting at 30% for the Linda Rice barn. However, it's just a weird, I didn't expect Kendrick to not take this mount.
Right. No, I think it's a valid concern.
Moving on to the number 5, which is going to be your second choice. That is Classify, trained by Saffy Joseph.
There's Kendrick.
He ends up on this one. Coming in here, what'd you think about this horse?
Yeah, I think this is probably the best speed horse in the race. I know he doesn't like to win, and that is a very big concern that he just runs second, and he runs second, and he runs second, and he runs second, and he runs second, and that's just all this horse seems to do. But if our theory is correct that no one really wants to pass anyone in this spot, at least of the super logical contenders, then maybe this horse just establishes the lead and nobody can pass him today. That last race was really strong. That was a very strong allowance race. Reddington is in good form, and General Banker already came back to win. Those top 3 were well clear of the rest, and that was a hot pace that they set that day. So if he runs back to that race, he should be tough. Saffy's obviously in the form of his career. All his horses are firing on all cylinders. The last 2 buyers, 92, 91, basically paired up buyer tops. And that's a huge angle always for me with these improving 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, because usually it's indicative of a big jump forward next time out. So if he does move forward in this spot, he'll be ultra tough in this race.
Absolutely. Yeah. Classify is going to be a tough one. The 91 and 92 buyer is, those are nice figures. I want to say we covered this horse either 1 or 2 backs. I remember talking about Classify. And I want to say I took this horse that day and finished second, as he loves to do. So I'm pretty much off that horse. Last horse I'll have you talk about here is 20-1 on the morning line. That is Register. Wonder what you see here.
He has a couple of races way back from his early 3-year-old campaign that kind of jump off the page. That was his second and third start. Oh man.
Sorry to interrupt, but I had to throw in Noah's comment here. He can't be talking about himself, can he?
We were talking before we got on here, like, I don't know if I should text Noah. He seems like he's a little upset about that pick 5 today at Keeneland. Yeah, he might be a little bit, but he'll get over it. We've got Breeders' Cup coming up. First time gutting for this horse. First time off a long layoff. I don't think he's been anywhere near the front end, so this horse I think can be coming from way out the pace if it does fall apart, because he's not fast enough to keep up early. And I do think he had potential at one point, so maybe he just needed a lot of time off to get back to those good races he ran as a 3-year-old.
Definitely. Had a 93 buyer in the maiden breaker, which is certainly fantastic. First effort with Jorge Vargas aboard, showed some ability to pass some horses, which is not bad. has just kind of lost his way the past few since coming off of that layoff. So you got to wonder if he's going to find his form here. But if he does, first time gelding, which is a decent angle, comes in off a 3 furlong, 36 second drill, which is nice. David Donk only 2% with turf to dirt runners, 37-cent ROI, 2% route to sprint. So I did give this horse a look here. I just, those numbers, it's clearly not something he's like super strong at. Coming in off a layoff, he normally kind of runs his horses into shape. So something I just kind of wanted to give a step back and look. That being said,
I just think, those last 4 races were just so abysmal that, and then they gave him some time off and they could have just retired him, right? He clearly was just terrible, but they bothered to bring him back at all. And not only that, but they bring him back protected, which I think is a sign of confidence for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's a great point. They bring him back in a protected spot and he does have some ability. $700 stud fee, and this horse sold for $170,000. So I'm not even going to do the math right now on what X that is of the stud fee, but you can do that on your own time. It's over over 100 times or over. Wow. Nope. Anyway, that was a mess. So moving on to number 7, which is going to be my top pick and my single in this race. That's Toxic Gray. My reason for picking this, blinkers off, I think is going to have this horse just relax a little bit, which I like to see. Only had blinkers for the one turf try where this horse didn't really do much running at all. I almost think maybe Michael Michelli threw the blinkers on coming off that layoff just to, maybe keep this horse a little sharp. Not entirely sure. 2 back lost to Lightman, who was on quite a roll around that time of the year, if I remember correctly. Won like 3 of 4. 3 back lost to Comedy Town and Big Martini, both of whom came back to win their next start down at Gulfstream Park. But I think a lot of these buyers are competitive here, and this horse has done something that a lot of others haven't done in this field, and that is win and pass horses when doing so. Yes, that came in March of last year for this trainer. However, that is something I like to see and something that I think could be necessary, because how many times have we seen at Aqueduct? We see that like 4 horses across the line, all gunning for the lead. And we see that one horse kind of sit about 2 lengths back right behind that wall of horses, kind of swoop wide and take them over. And I think that's what Jose Lezcano's plan is going to be here. That's certainly what I'm hoping for, because I think Toxic Gray has a chance to spring a real upset. This horse's 2 wins have come in the Mike Michelli barn at this racetrack. So both of those are signs that I like. This trainer clearly knows his way around this horse and knows what this horse likes and doesn't like. So that's something I really want to press that opinion here. See if we can get this horse home at a huge number. And I think that's going to be beneficial to me and knock out a lot of other people.
Yeah, I like it. I used this horse without even knowing that you were going to single it. So we're on the same page here.
We're on the same page. This race definitely has, a lot of intrigue as far as the runners go. You have a really talented one in Classify. You obviously have the big 3-year-old in El Grande O, and then you have a bunch of horses that don't love to pass other horses. So it's going to be fun to see how this race shakes out. One more runner I want to talk about before we move on. It's the one Forest City. I don't know about you. This runner I couldn't use strictly because Belmont just hasn't been firing, and this horse has been at this level for just way too long. I think this horse needs a change of scenery, needs something.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is his 3rd start at this level, so it's not terrible. But I'm with you.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I was reading the starter allowance ones because shout out to our guy Shane O'Neill. He's the one that contacted DRF to get them to add those conditions. So I'm still getting used to seeing those.
Yeah, still an adjustment. He ran fine at Saratoga. I'm with you though. It was just the whole, I can't take the Belmont horses right now. They're just not running. And one of his wins came when it was a stake race, and I think 3 or 4 horses blew the final turn, and the horse just kind of got away from it. It was just, I don't know. They're not running right now. I can't use them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. So that's race 7. I am single to the number 7, Toxic Gray, and Jackson is 4 deep with the 3, 4, 5, and 7. We're going to move on to the last race in this sequence, a race where both of us have the exact same single. It's both of our get out races. We both have to hope for the best. I know that went poorly. We are both single to the 8.
That was his fault.
That's true. That was his fault. Noah got us confident when he texted us that Howard did not like the 6 at Keeneland today, yet Howard was the only one that turns out to be right. So good for him, I guess. But this is a 1.125 mile maiden race. We're maiden $40,000 claimers, state breds, 3-year-olds and upward. We have one horse to talk about in here. That's Katani. Michelle Nevin, obviously having a razor sharp meet with 10 horses finishing in the money out of only 15 starters. That is sensational. We both singled this horse. I'll let you start. What'd you like here?
Yeah, this is a clear single for me. If he loses, I have no problem with that. I like this horse quite a bit in this spot. As you mentioned, Hot Barn, and I just love that last race. I really needed him that day, and he ran great. It was a pretty fast pace that day. Big long shot went, took the lead. He took it to him the whole way around the track. I think the horse was like 70-1. So he was dueling with him the whole way, pressing it. That's not an easy trip on the turf. It's that pressing two wide, 3 wide stalking trip. Much better on the turf. It's very difficult to overcome that. So he was doing that the first half mile. Then about the far turn, so another giant long shot came and forced the issue on the outside. So he was, they went fast in that third quarter as well, as can be seen from that red fraction in the third quarter. So he was running hard the entire way. Got into the stretch, got passed by a horse who just saved ground every inch of the way. And I loved that he fought back on the inside at the very end. He tried the whole way around. He ran huge. That race completely fell apart. The horses I mentioned were last by 25 lengths and second to last by 15 lengths. So, and then I think a third horse came on the far turn and challenged him as well. And that horse was way up the track too. Mm-hmm. And you just see these closers all coming from every direction. He was the only speed horse that stuck around. Huge angle for me. I love it. He loses nothing getting Kendrick. Kendrick's great on a speed horse, and there's really not a lot of speed in this race. So this is a big single for me. I'm gonna bet him to win. We'll probably have some doubles live to him too. So my entire day is gonna be keyed around this horse tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Pick-6
Matt.
Built from the back forward.
My top horse tomorrow. Look at that time.
There we go, Matt. Yeah, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by to say hi. I'll be over to say hi as well after we wrap up on this channel, but I'll get to that later. The number 8 Katani in here, stretching out the extra half furlong. Kendrick on board was the big key. Obviously Pratt is not up at Aqueduct this week as he is down in Keeneland for closing weekend. You get Kendrick aboard for Michelle Nevin. Those are a strong pair always, but more importantly than that, Kendrick on turf on a horse that should be lone speed. That is something I love to see. He knows when to give his horse a breather. Stretching out that extra half furlong with how game this horse was, that shows that there was more in the tank. So I think stretching out, not being pressured, not being so wide the entire trip, I think all of that is a recipe for success. And this horse should be able to come home all alone. I'm hoping, for a nice length. We're third off the layoff here. That's typically what you want to see. That's typically a horse's best effort. That's a big angle for me, similar to paired up buyer tops for you. So that's an angle that I love to look for. Michelle Nevin, as we said, strong trainer. Kendrick and Michelle hit at 24%, 234 ROI. And honestly, that was all she wrote for me. I don't even know what other horses to really talk about in here. I guess we can mention Bomb Squad for Christophe Clement, who is a decent runner. Just again, 9 starts, 4 in the money, just hasn't quite gotten the job done and has already raced 3 times at this level. And hasn't gotten it done, so I don't think this is the spot for this horse. Did you have any that you wanted to mention?
This was the one I would think about throwing in there. It's just I didn't think it was a very deep race. There's very little pace signed on unless someone just does something that they're not usually doing. But because these horses I've all ran several times, so we kind of know what they do. So unless the jockey is going to want to take them out of their comfort zone, I think the 8's going to be alone on a pretty easy lead.
I agree. It should be the 8 we skate in this race. As you can see, all of them have come out of route races. Nobody is forward. Nobody's on the lead. A little bit the one. I have the one underneath. The one was a B for me, or a C rather, because the 8 was a lone A. I do want to take a look at the time form and just see what they have. 8 clearly on the lead and 8 finishing on top with the 7 picking up the pieces. So that certainly makes sense. That was the first time I've checked time form, so I'm happy. That always, is a little bit of a confidence boost when time form picks the race the way I see it, or vice versa. I mean, I guess Timeform doesn't care if they pick the race the way I see it. But when I pick the race and Timeform kind of matches up, if I'm picking something lone speed or a deep closer or whatever have you, this horse should get the job done. And yeah, that's, we're in race 8. We're both single to the 8. That's going to make or break the day. But hey, if we get a live to this horse, in the Pick-6, it's going to be for a decent price. And the horse should be thereabouts. Has no problem breaking, really, knock on wood. Hopefully we're alive to a nice score tomorrow. That is the sequence. I will throw up the Pick-6 tickets that we both have. $75 budget in here. We both managed to stay under that. I'm not going to lie. My first ticket was an $80 ticket, and I almost kept it up. But I decided to take it down.
I think we all need to know who that horse was, because that horse is definitely going to win.
Yep. I will show you. I believe it was the 4 horse in the 3rd race. It was definitely in the first leg. Oh no, it was the 7.
The Belmont horse. So you're the reason that Belmont's going to break out of the slump, huh?
Correct. All right. I am the reason. So when the 7 horse tomorrow wins, that's Nolita in the 3rd race. Go ahead and blame me. Anybody that's playing a ticket, just single the 7 and know that you got it home. But I'm going 1, 2, 3 in the first. I'm going 4 deep, as we talked about, 1, 5, 8, 9. I'm singling Tom Morley, Dylan Davis, adding the blinkers. I'm going 5 deep in the next race. I'm singling Toxic Gray in the really interesting open level allowance race with the return of El Grande O. And then we're both getting out with Catania. I already forgot how to pronounce that name. But we're both getting out with the number 8 horse in the last race. Jackson, you want to talk through real quick, just your ticket one more time?
Yeah, just going to single that short price in the first race. It's going to be quick day or quick sequence for me if the horse doesn't get the job done. That second leg, going to try to lock it up with 2 speed horses. As I think we mentioned, there's not much pace in that race at all, so hopefully they don't get in each other's way, because that's really the only way I see them not getting the job done in that spot. That 3rd leg, Chad Brown horse should be pretty tough if he can establish an easy lead. But if there's pace goes with them, the 2 and 4, some closers from off the pace at some decent prices that could be threats. The 6th race, the maiden race, that's by far the toughest race I thought of the sequence. I'm 3 deep there. I may just single the 7. I may go super spready. I know we had to limit our budget here, but that's the race I'm going to have to make a decision on come tomorrow. And then the 7th race is going to try to get alive in that spot. I have your deep closer as a long shot, a couple other long shots in there, and then the 2 logicals, just trying to get home to the 8 horse, who I like quite a bit tomorrow. Absolutely.
That is the Pick-6 sequence tomorrow at Belmont at the Big A, otherwise known as Backwaduct. Pick-6 carryover, $120,000 plus in the pool to start. Hopefully that pool gets up to, $600K on a Thursday would not be bad. You saw 3.2 with the Pick-5 at Keeneland today. Neither of us made away with much money out of that one.
I didn't bet it. So
oh, that's right. You somehow passed on that.
I did.
Which is crazy. Noah and I are just supremely disappointed, but I think Noah's more upset at himself, to be honest, than anybody else. So that is the show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Real quick, couple more announcements. Again, I mentioned Pacific Horse Players tonight. That's hosted by Noah, co-hosted by me. That's over on the HHH Racing channel, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And if you aren't sick of seeing my face again, in about 2 minutes, I'll be on the HHH Racing channel, because we're going over Breeders' Cup pre-entry reactions. So I'm going to end this stream. I'm going to hop over there and keep talking horses, and then hopefully I'll hop off because I got to finish up some work for the PHP show tonight. But I'm just about wrapped up. So
what are you guys doing again tonight for PHP? I thought you said something.
I believe are going to be doing the late pick 3 Saturday at Santa Anita. And then we are also going to be going over the Del Mar track profile for Breeders' Cup, which is going to be important. We're going to be going over turf and dirt. We're going to be going over what to expect to play, how it plays. Obviously, Noah, you, myself, we all know that track like the back of our hands. So I'm excited to talk about that. But any parting words before we get on out of here
tonight? So be ready for
What's that?
I'll be in the comments giving you guys shit tonight, so just be prepared.
There we go. I'm sure
that's always my turn to be like Noah.
There we go. That's always welcome. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We got like 40 deep today just for this quick little stream, so I do appreciate each and every one of y'all. Real quick, if you check out the previous video, that's Get Bucked for the Breeders' Cup episode 2. Giveaway details are in the description in there. Obviously, watch the videos. There was a lot of cool insight into all the juvenile turf runners for Baby Friday or Future Stars Friday, whatever you want to call it. But head on over there. Check the description for the giveaway details. Post your predictions in the comments. You could win a copy of Matt Miller's book, A Better Way of Thinking, which is only going to improve your game. But again, guys, thank you guys for checking out the channel, checking out the video, joining the stream. Until next time, I'm Ryan. That's Jackson, and we'll see you later.